Hello, and welcome to Teaching Brain-Based Learning Theory by Omar Lugo. As a new teacher, having an understanding of brain-based learning theory is important. By understanding these concepts, you can have a better understanding of how your students learn, and with this knowledge, you will be able to present information in different ways that they can understand. Here are 10 important brain-based learning theory concepts that will come in handy in the classroom. The information processing model. The information processing model is a way of thinking about how the brain deals with new information from the environment. In this model, information from the environment is taken up by our senses. Next, a sensory register in the thalamus filters the information to determine what is important. From here, important information is held as immediate memory if we are storing it subconsciously, and as working memory if we are storing it consciously. If important enough, information gets sent to long-term storage. As a teacher, remember that your students are processing tons of information every second and that not all of it will end up in their long-term storage. By making it clear what is important to remember, you can help your students' thymuses. The cognitive belief system and self-concept. All of our life experiences help us make sense of the world around us. The cognitive belief system teaches us that all of the bits of information in our long-term storage add together in a miraculous way to make us the people we are. Similar to the cognitive belief system is the idea of self-concept, the way we see ourselves. This too is constructed from many bits of information we combine subconsciously in our brains. Remember that each student has a cognitive belief system and self-concept that is shaped from a lifetime of unique experiences. This means that each student will be receptive or rejecting of different types of information and different types of learning styles. How a memory forms. Understanding how memories form should help a new teacher plant those memories in his or her students. An environmental stimulus causes nerve impulses to travel in the neurons in the brain. Random firings of neurons, however, do not create memories. It is only when there is a repetitive pattern of firing of a group of neurons that memories develop. As the firing repeats and repeats, the connections between those neurons become stronger and stronger. Neurons eventually become a strong network and will be ready to fire again together in the future. By repeating important points from a lesson plan, you are causing repeated firing of neurons and aiding the student in memory creation. The primacy-recency effect. When given a string of words or numbers, we remember best the items at the beginning of the list and second best the items at the end of the list. The hardest to remember are the items in the middle. This is called the primacy-recency effect. This has an important implication for teaching when giving a lecture full of new information. The students will remember what you present first and last most easily. To capitalize on this, consider using the middle part of your lecture to practice using the new information learned at the beginning instead of cramming a full lecture with all new information. Also, try not to waste the beginning of lecture with useless bits like attendance or announcements. Finally, keep the primacy-recency effect in mind when planning the length of time you are lecturing. Oftentimes, shorter is better, and rest times can be helpful. Chunking. Chunking is a way that we use our brains to hold more information. With chunking, we can remember a set of many pieces of data by organizing it as one piece of data. For example, remembering the letters I, T, M, N, V, R, M, T, H, C, A, E is difficult. If you rearrange the letters, they are easier to remember as the abbreviations of the 6 New England states. Take a look at our own lives and you find chunking everywhere. Our phone numbers and social security numbers have dashes to make remembering them easier. Words of a song are easy to remember because they are split into patterned verses. By teaching strategies for chunking, it is possible to increase the amount of information your students can remember. The power of transfer. Transfer refers to how our past learning and past experiences shape the way we approach new information. When the past learning helps, this is called positive transfer. When it interferes, this is called negative transfer. Many schools are trying to capitalize on this by organizing all of the basic classes, like math, English, science, and social studies, around a common theme. In this way, the learning in each subject builds on that in the other subjects. As a teacher, another way to use transfer is to be creative with your lessons. If the Patriots have just won the Super Bowl, make your examples related to the game. If Tom Brady throws a 30-yard touchdown pass and the receiver catches it 2 seconds later, how fast did he throw the ball? This example may inspire some positive transfer, unless you've got a classroom full of Giants fans. Hemispheric preference. Each of your students have a brain with a left and right hemisphere, but how they use their brains and hemispheres is often different from one student to the next. In most people, the left side is more focused on generating language, recognizing words and numbers, thinking about arithmetic, and dealing with external stimuli. It processes information in a sequential and analytical manner. The right side focuses on more special patterns, internal processing, and interpreting language through gestures and emotions. It processes information more holistically and abstractly. While all people use both sides, some learners depend more on the left or the right. Hemispheric preference is an example to remind us that all learners are different and respond to all different types of teaching. As a teacher, remember to vary your teaching style to keep all types of learners engaged. Why teach the arts? As art and music are slipping out of our school curriculum, as a new teacher, it is important to understand the important value of these subjects. The arts play an important role in human development, and learning about the arts helps us to live in a higher quality life. The arts help our cognition. Evaluating the works of art teach us that problems can have multiple solutions and questions can have multiple answers. Creating art and music teach us to use our imagination and make decisions in the absence of a rule. It is well known that students in art classes have higher SAT scores. Also, art and music can reach students who are failing in other aspects of school and can challenge gifted students to reach higher. The dimensions of human thinking. The revised version of Bloom's taxonomy creates 6 levels of thinking. Remember, being at the bottom, going up to the top with understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. When I ask, who wrote the play Romeo and Juliet, I am asking you to remember. When I ask, why do you think Romeo and Juliet's families could not accept their relationship, I am asking you to evaluate. And when I ask, write a new ending to Romeo and Juliet when the main characters do not die, I am asking you to create. Answering all of those questions requires thinking. As a teacher, keep your students thinking and climbing up this ladder of complex thought. Push your students to evaluate and create, not only to remember. The difference between complexity and difficulty. Even the slowest learners in the class can succeed at complex thinking. Looking at Bloom's taxonomy, we see that remembering is the least complex and creating is the most complex type of thinking. The fastest learners in your class may be able to remember all 41 presidents in order. The slowest learners may be able to remember the last 10 presidents. A learner with advanced writing skills may be able to create a debate between George Washington and Abe Lincoln about a current political topic. The learner better at art could create a sketch of the debate. As a teacher, encourage all of your students to use higher order thinking regardless of their ability levels. Thank you for learning about brain-based learning theory with me today. I'm sure it will be very helpful as you begin your career as a teacher.